Hello, I'm Mary Yvonne, and at this point I will discuss the Philippine folk dances. The Philippines consists of 7,641 islands and is home to more than 175 living languages, which is why the Philippines has a rich cultural heritage reflected in its many traditional folk dances. These dances were shaped by indigenous traditions and foreign influences, particularly from Spanish colonization. They are performed during festivals, weddings, religious celebrations, and community gatherings, helping preserve Filipino history, customs, and values. Now we have the Tinikling. Tinikling originated on the island of Leyte in the Visayas region of the Philippines during the Spanish colonial era. It is one of the famous traditional Filipino folk dances. It is said to imitate the movements of the tickling bird, which moves quickly while avoiding traps. In the dance, two people hold and move bamboo poles by opening and closing them against the ground and each other. The dancers step, jump, and move their feet between the poles without getting caught. Because of its fast movements, tinikling requires good timing, balance, coordination, and quick feet. It represents the creativity and liveliness of Filipino culture. We have the Cariñosa. Cariñosa is a traditional Filipino courtship dance with strong Spanish influence. The word cariñosa means affectionate or loving. Dancers use a fan and handkerchief as important props. The movements are usually gentle, graceful, and somewhat shy because the dance represents a man and a woman showing their interest in each other. The dancers may hide their faces behind the fan or handkerchief and use careful movements to express love, modesty, and romance. It shows the traditional Filipino way of expressing affection in a respectful manner. We have the Pandango sa Ilaw. So Pandango sa Ilaw is a graceful Filipino folk dance that originated in Lubang, Mindoro. The word ilaw means light, which is why lamps are the most important part of the dance. Dancers carefully balance lighted lamps on their hands and sometimes on their heads while performing graceful movements. They must control their bodies carefully so that the lamps do not fall. The dance is often associated with celebrations and religious occasions. It demonstrates balance, concentration, grace, and dancing skill. Next is Pandango o Asiwas. Pandango o Asiwas is a folk dance from Pangasinan. It is connected to the life of fishermen and celebrates a successful fishing trip. Like Pandango sa Ilaw, dancers use lights or lamps as props. However, the dance has a more joyful and celebratory feeling because it represents happiness after a good catch. The dancers perform lively movements while handling the lamps carefully. It reflects the importance of fishing and community celebrations in coastal areas. Now we have the Sayaw sa Bangko. Sayaw sa Bangko literally means dance on a bench. As the name suggests, dancers perform on top of a narrow wooden bench. They perform different steps while staying balanced on a small space. Some movements may involve getting on and off of the bench or changing positions with their partners. Because the dancers are working in a limited space, they need trust, concentration, balance, and teamwork. The dance can symbolize how people overcome difficulties by working together and trusting one another. Next is Maglalatik. Maglalatik is a lively traditional Filipino dance usually performed by male dancers. The dancers attach coconut shells to different parts of their body such as chest, back, thighs, and hands. They hit the coconut shells against one another as they perform rhythmic movements. The dance looks like a mock battle with two groups appearing to compete against each other. It is commonly performed during fiestas and is associated with celebrations honoring San Isidro Labrador. The dance shows strength, rhythm, energy, and coordination. Another one is the itik-itik. Itik-itik is a Filipino folk dance inspired by the movements of a duck called itik in Filipino. The dancers imitate how ducks walk, flap their wings, and move their bodies and splash in the water. Because of this, the dance has a playful and lively movements. Unlike dances that focus mainly on courtship or religious traditions, itik-itik is especially known for its fun and humorous movements. It shows how Filipino dancers can turn ordinary movements from nature like an entertaining cultural dance. Next is the Kapa Malong Malong. Kapa Malong Malong is a traditional dance of the Maranao people of Mindanao. The main focus of the dance is the malong, a colorful traditional cloth worn by the Maranao. The dance demonstrates the different ways a malong can be worn and used in everyday life. It can be used as clothing, a covering, or for other practical purposes. Dancers show these different uses through their movements and changes in how they handle the cloth. The dance helps show the importance of the malong in Maranao culture and everyday life. Next is the Pantumina. Pantumina is a traditional dance from the Bicol region and is commonly associated with weddings. The dance imitates the courtship movements of doves. Dancers move around each other in ways that represents the birds showing affection towards one another. Because it is connected to courtship and marriage, the dance represents love, romance, partnership, and unity. It is often performed as part of celebrations where families and communities come together. Lastly, the Singkil. Singkil is a famous traditional dance of the Maranao people. It is known for its elegant movements, colorful and elaborate costumes, and the use of bamboo poles. The main dancer carefully steps in and out of the moving and clashing bamboo poles while maintaining graceful movements. The dance is connected to the Darangin epic, a traditional Maranao literary work, and is associated with royal or noble characters. Singkil demonstrates grace, beauty, coordination, and the richness of the Maranao culture.
Good day, everyone. I'm Jennifer Di Pipanyo. Today, I'll be discussing my assigned topic 3.3 Filipino Material Cultural Arts, focusing on traditional Filipino tools, clothing, and attire. Let's begin with the first part, which is tools. Tools is the traditional Filipino tools and weapons showcase advanced metallurgical engineering integrated with cultural iconography. These implements serve both utilitarian agricultural functions and community defense. This means that traditional Filipino tools and weapons were not made only for practical purposes or practical use, such as farming and clearing vegetation. They also showed the skills, craftsmanship, and cultural identity of our ancestors. There are three traditional Filipino tools. First one is bolo, the second one is panabas, and the third one is Kampilan. The first one is the Bolo, a single-age, versatile machi engineered across the Philippine archipelago. It functions primarily as a farming implement for clearing thick jungle brush, though it historically doubt as a primary weapon of civilian resistance. Bolo is a versatile blade commonly used for farming, especially for clearing thick grass, plants, and jungle brush. Historically, it was also used as a weapon for civilian resistance. The second one is the panabas. Panabas is a heavy long-handled chopping blade native to Mindanao. It is characterized by its forward curving belly, making it highly effective for thick clearing work and a formidable battle weapon. Panabas is a heavy blade with a long handle associated with Mindanao. Because of its forward curving shape and weight, it is effective for heavy chopping and clearing work and was also historically gigamit ni siya as a battle weapon. The third one is the kampilan. Kampilan is a single-edged, dual-pointed longsword, historically favored by pre-colonial chieftains and warriors. Its hilt features complex wood carvings depicting mythical creatures like the bakunawa or sea serpent or crocodiles. The kampilan is a traditional longsword historically favored by pre-colonial chieftains and warriors. It was not only a weapon because its hilt also featured complex wood carvings depicting mythical creatures and cultural symbols. Now, let us proceed to clothing and attire. Clothing and attire is a Filipino traditional textiles and garments functioned as visual social markers, integrating native flora, handloom basics, and spiritual motifs. This means that traditional Filipino clothing and textiles were not only used as clothing. Their colors, patterns, materials, and designs could also reflect cultural identity, social status, beliefs, and traditions. There are three types of clothing and attire. The first one is barut saya, the second one is malung, and the third one is kalinga attire. The first one is the barut saya. Barut saya, a four-piece ensemble featuring a fine fabric blouse or baro and an elaborate wrap around skirt or saya. The barut saya is a traditional Filipino women's attire consisting of a baro or blouse and saya or wrap around skirt. It represents traditional Filipino fashion and cultural identity. So mahimong isulob ang barut saya sa cultural presentation. So mahimo pong gamiton ang barut saya ug naay mga Filipino team sa school activity. The second one is the malung. Malung is a traditional tubular garment woven using a backstrap loom by ethno-linguistic groups in Mindanao. It features distinct geometric patterns known as ukir, applied through complex tie-dyeing or direct thread weaving methods. The malung is a traditional tubular garment made through weaving by ethno-linguistic groups in Mindanao. It is known for distinctive geometric patterns called okir, which reflect artistic and cultural traditions. Ang malong is mahimong isulob ni siya isip traditional clothing. And also, ang malong is gamiton ni siya isip wrap or covering. Then, ang colorful nga okir patterns is mahimong makita ni siya sa cultural presentations. The third one is the kalinga attire. Kalinga attire, Cordilleran woven apparel featuring dominant crimson and indigo bands. The geometry of the wrap around skirt or kain and structural beadwork communicate the wearer's social standing and tribal achievements. Kalinga attire is traditional woven clothing from the Cordillera. Its colors, patterns, and beadworks can provide information about the wearer's social standing and tribal achievements. Kalinga attire is mahimong isulob ni sa traditional cultural events. Ang crimson o indigo bands makita ni isip importanteng elements sa traditional design. And also ang beadwork o patterns mahimong magrepresent sa social standing o achievements. In conclusion, Filipino material cultural arts reflect the skills, creativity, traditions, and cultural identity of our ancestors. By appreciating these traditional tools, clothing, and designs, we can better understand and value our Filipino heritage. That concludes my part of the report. Thank you for listening.
So good day everyone, I am Annalyn Curan and I will be the one to discuss the Filipino ancient and traditional heritage. Naatulo kabuo ka maritime transportation. The first one is the balangay, vinta, and paraw. Balangay is an ancient Filipino boat. Gamana siya sa wooden boat, travel and trade, traditional craftsmanship. So, the balangay is an ancient Filipino wooden boat na gigamit sa atong katigulangan for the travel and trade. It was made from wooden planks, pigs, and fiber instead of metal legs. Rigon kini o designed to move safely with the waves. The next one is the vinta. Vinta is a traditional Mindanao boat. As you can see, the vinta is very colorful. And yes, colorful sails, outriggers, and stable at sea. The Vinta is a traditional boat from Mindanao, especially sa Solo area. It is known for its colorful sails and outriggers. Ang outrigger makatabang para stable ang boat bisan naa sa dagat. The last one is the paraw. Paraw is a traditional Visayan boat. Ang paraw is a sailboat, outriggers, fishing, and travel. The paraw is a traditional Filipino sailboat na common sa Visayas. It has outriggers that help keep the boat balanced. Gigamit ni siya para sa fishing, transportation, o coastal travels. So, we will proceed the Filipino traditional houses. Naapitulo ka Filipino traditional houses. First one is the Bahay Kubo, second one is the Ifugabale, and the last is the Karugan. So first is the Bahay Kubo. Bahay Kubo is a traditional Filipino house. Bahay Kubo is made from bamboo and nipa, raised on stilts and called unpractical. A bahay kubo is a traditional Filipino house made of bamboo, wood, and nipa. Gitukod kini sa stilts para mas presko ang sunod o malikayan ang baha. Simple ra siya pero practical for the Philippine climate. Last is the second one is the Ifugao Balay. Ifugao Balay is a traditional mountain house. So, umaura sila. But Ifugao Balay is naasa sa mountain na area. Mostly wood, strong and compact mountain environment. The Ifugao Balay is a traditional mountain house from Ifugao. Mostly wood ang materials of strong ang structure. Ang design niini bagay sa mountainous environment of makatabang sa pag-protect sa family from the cold and weather. The last one is the Turugan. Turugan is a traditional Maranao house. Turugan is a large structure, beautiful carvings, culture, and status. So, maunin ay ang last. Ang Turugan is a traditional house of Mindanao people. It's large and beautifully decorated with wooden carvings. So, Kani modernism design. And called panulong. Dili lang ni ordinary house kay symbol po ni sa status, culture, o identity sa Maranao. That's all.